Good afternoon, partners. I wanted to put together this quick video to talk about maybe a strategy to use when you're doing some outbound calling. Let's say a situation when you're doing outbound calling, you've made multiple attempts with a specific end user to get in contact with them. This could be a cold call, a warm call, whether it's a lead that we gave you, whether it's an existing customer, a new customer, it really doesn't matter. I think we can all agree that when you're making outbound calls that you're probably going to have to attempt multiple times before you actually get them to either respond or pick up the phone or get back in touch with you. The topic of this discussion is really not to talk about how many attempts it takes, even though I think you're going to find it's probably between 4 and 8 attempts, but it's really to give you some other strategy to use instead of saying, hey, I'm just calling to check in. I want to give you a different strategy in that. And when I say different strategy, I don't mean to change the words and say, hey, I'm just calling to touch base, because that's the same thing, just said a slightly different way. So my suggestion is to add value, is to differentiate yourself from most likely the other people that are trying to reach out to them and get on their schedule. So number one would be leverage business value. So if you're talking to a customer about an opportunity and you do something different, you do something better, or you're going to be better suited to help them reduce this or improve that, that type of thing. That's something you might want to spend 10 seconds talking about and illustrating. Many times customers don't get off a center. They end up deciding to do the status, stick with the status quo, and that's obviously a whole nother topic of conversation. But again, so that's number one. So leverage business value. Number two would be to share some sort of related education. And when I say related education, I'm referring to let's say you're talking to a director of IT and you're working on a mobility project for mobile computers, and there's discussions about mobile device management. Well, you can find a report online, or maybe you got reports internally that talk about mobile device management, top concerns or top things to consider when implementing mobile device management. And you say to that, in the voicemail, say, I came across this report, we had it in our queue, and it made me think of you, and I wanted to share this with you, so I'm going to send you a quick email. So obviously that's a way to, number one, differentiate yourself, and number two, to get a phone call back from them. Number two, again, that was some sort of related education related to the opportunity you're working on. Number three would be unrelated education. So something that is totally maybe unrelated to your project, your company, but it's directly related to them, maybe challenges that they find in their role. So if you're talking to that same VP of IT and you're talking about some project, and you find some other report that talks about top concerns of IT professionals by the year 2020 or something like that. It has nothing to do with your project, but it's something that will impact them. It's something that you can share with them that shows that, hey, you're thinking of them in a non-selfish kind of way, actually very selfless, and you're approaching your relationship with them as a more consultative type of approach. They're going to appreciate that. So again, I've tried these three strategies over the years, and they do work. Nothing is 100%. But more times than not, they do help to nudge some sort of response loose. I'd love to hear your feedback and kind of see what your thoughts and what your experiences are. I hope this information was helpful.